Hi. All right, music fundamentals, major scale. Let's check it out. Between C and C, there are 12 musical tones. There are the white keys, which we consider the natural notes. You know, odd overtones there, but we can get past it. And then there are the black keys. The white keys seem like they're evenly spaced, but they're not actually evenly spaced. Consider these black keys for sure. There's a C, and then there's a half step, C sharp or D flat, D, and then there's a half step, D sharp or E flat. Then there's E. Now, E goes straight to F. There's no black key. There's a missing black key there. E to F, which means a half step up from E is F. E sharp is F. F flat is E. Okay? From F, we go up a half step to F sharp or G flat. Here we are in G, goes up another half step to G sharp or A flat, which is A sharp or B flat. B, half step up from B, is C. If we consider these black keys as indicative of intervals, we can say that starting on the root note C, if you want to build a C major scale, you just say, oh, that's interesting. I don't know why it's downvoting me, but whatever. Doesn't like music theory either. Here we go. C, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. We have a recipe to build a major scale. We can start on any note as our root note and follow that same recipe. Who cares what this note is? Intervallically, up a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Right? If we're not looking at a keyboard and we don't have an instrument in our hands, we can still do exactly the same thing. Here's our entire Western musical scale. It has all 12 tones that we consider. There is no tone in between B and C or E and F. There is a tone in between every other pair of notes. Okay. Our major scale recipe is going to be whole, half, whole, half. We can start on any note and build a major scale using our major scale recipe. Let's start on the note F. F is our root note. It's first interval that we're talking about. F is our root note or our first scale degree, we could call it. The first interval we're dealing with is a whole step. What's a whole step up from F? F has a half step, F sharp, another half step to G. A whole step up from F is G. What's a whole step up from G? The note A. What's a half step up from A is A sharp or B flat. We don't like repeated notes in our major scales. We don't like to say, well, F, you start on F, it goes F, G, A sharp, and then it continues on. We do F, G, A, B flat, and then we're back to whole step territory. Whole step up from B flat. Remember, there's no note between B and C. So if we're starting on B flat, a whole step up is C. All right? Whole step up from C, D. Whole step up from D is an E. And a half step up from E gets us back to our root note, which is F. So we have intervals of whole, half, whole, half. We have scale degrees of F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. We have scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. Or 8. You can think of it both ways. Let's pick a different, before we pick a different scale, we're going to notice a couple things about this. F has one accidental. It occurs on the fourth interval. It is a flat. So if you're looking at a piece of staff paper, or if someone says, hey, we're going to play, we got one, we're playing a tune, maybe they're signaling from across the room, they say this. That means one flat. That means that you're automatically playing in the key of F, because F is the only major key with one flat. It always occurs on this note, the fourth scale degree, B flat. If we were to pick a key that some people consider more difficult, let's start on a B. Okay, and we're going to do this exact same method, but we're just going to start on B. So our first interval is a whole step up from B. There's no note between B and C. A whole step up from B is C sharp. Okay, so B, whole step up to C sharp. Another whole step up to D sharp. Now it's a half step. That gets us to E. A whole step up from E, remember there's no note between E and F. A whole step up from E is F sharp. A whole step up from F sharp is G sharp. A whole step up from G sharp is A sharp. And a half step up from A gets us back to our root, B. Now, when we're looking at this notationally, it seems pretty freaky. It's got all these hashtags. It seems visually cluttered. The vibe between these two major scales is exactly the same. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can pick any note to start that on, and I suggest you do. Spend some time singing and get the feel of a major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They all have the same feeling because they all follow the same interval recipe. They will be notated differently with varying levels of complexity because we are missing these notes. These two gaps mean that our notation starts to get more cluttered in certain keys, but it does not mean they're somehow more difficult. Okay? For instance, we can start looking for patterns in this. It looks like a whole bunch of sharps. What's not sharp? The root note, which is B, that should be easy to remember. B major starts on a B, a natural note. Everything else is sharp except the fourth scale degree of E. Right? We can start looking for patterns like this. For instance, in F, everything is a natural note except the fourth scale degree, which is flat. In B, everything is sharp, except for the root, which is kind of obvious because we just said B. Everything is sharp except for the fourth scale degree, which is half a step flat compared to everything else. Go through all 12 keys, spend some time with a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. Take it real slow. Be sure to follow the method. Don't just copy out many different major scales. Pick one major scale, go through the method a few times until you feel like you've really got it, and then move on to the next one. You can move through these chromatically, you can move through them intervallically, whatever. You can move through them any way you feel like. Have some fun. Try to get this. It's not necessary to memorize all 12 major keys, but what I am interested in getting you to do is be comfortable with the method of starting on a note and figuring out what its buddies are if it's going to be a major scale starting on whatever note we're starting on. So play around, have fun, see you soon.